yesterday. That one's for you. We'll explain what you're going to put on that in just a moment. The other one, the lined piece of paper, you're going to write feedback at the top. You do not need to have your name on the loose leaf piece of paper, but I'm going to introduce our guest speaker for today. So Lance Smith, also known as Claysmile, is a mortgage loan officer with AFN, American Financial Network. In addition, he is passionate about visiting schools and delivering presentations that provide insights and inspiration for maximizing and maintaining health and happiness. Please join me with a round of applause and welcoming Lance Claysmile Smith.
Thank you. I really appreciate Ms. Gio for allowing me to come in today and share this message with you. Really excited about being here with you guys today. And before I begin, let's set up a system in which you can give constant feedback throughout this presentation. Let's do this. Whenever I say holler if you hear me, if at that moment you're understanding and agreeing with what I'm saying, then please yell back at me. Something like yes, or yeah, or holler, or anything of that nature, a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Now I know it may feel a little silly, right? It may feel a little silly. But it really does add a lot of energy to the presentation, all right? So let's test this out. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. Excellent. Now I'd like to start this presentation by sharing with you this story. I heard this story told by the speaker T.D. Jakes about a little boy out in the Midwest who wanted to see an eagle fly. So he gets a pair of binoculars and goes out to a large open field and he's watching and finally he spots an eagle. And the eagle is flying higher and higher and higher. Then all of a sudden the eagle stops in midair. And then begins to fall and flap and fall and flap and fall and flap. Finally it disappears out of sight. Little boy says to himself, what happened to the eagle? Did someone shoot the eagle? I didn't hear a gun. And the little boy walks for about a mile in order to find where the eagle had landed. And finally he found the eagle. The eagle is laid down, nose in the dirt. The eagle is dead. The little boy says, again, what killed the eagle? The little boy turns the eagle over, and there, affixed to the eagle's chest, is a weasel. The weasel has bitten into the heart of the eagle, a little animal, a weasel, bitten into the heart of the eagle. And the little boy says to himself, now I see what happened to the eagle. The eagle had picked up a weasel and did not let it go. And that's very symbolic to our lives. Because every single day of our lives, we all pick up weasels. And weasels come in many different forms. There are weasels in the form of negative thoughts, weasels in the form of bad habits, weasels in the form of unhealthy addictions, weasels in the form of fears and worries and stress and frustration and anger and insecurities. We all pick up weasels. And if we don't drop the weasels will drop us. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. Drop the weasels. Let go of the weasels. Let go of things that are trying to eat at you. Let go of things that are trying to separate you from your source of peace and joy. Let them go. Because either you drop them or they will drop you. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Because in this presentation, I'm going to share with you some tips that we all can use to drop the weasels and fly like an eagle. I'm going to share with you some insight and inspiration that can help us to maximize and maintain our health and our happiness. And whenever you hear a quote that you like, please write it down on your notes sheet of paper, right? So it's the one that you got from Miss Gio, right? The little chart on it, right? Whenever you hear a quote that you like, please write it down on that type of note sheet of paper, because that's very important, because towards the end of this presentation, we're going to do an activity, and each person will need to have a list of their favorite quotes written down on that chart, all right? Now, on the other piece of paper is your feedback piece of paper, and that is where you're going to respond to some questions at the end of the presentation. Now, I'd like to share with you something very personal. I used to be very embarrassed about this, but no longer am I embarrassed about it, so I want to share it with you. You see, although I am a professional, right, I graduated from college with a degree in accounting and became a CPA and later became a mortgage loan officer. Although I am a professional, I'm still in the process of overcoming social anxiety. When I was growing up, I had a severe case of social anxiety, and things have gotten better. I've improved a lot, but I'm still in the process of overcoming social anxiety. It's where, like I feel very comfortable doing presentations because, they're planned out and they're scripted and all that. But when I'm in like settings, social settings where there's no script and like either a small group setting or a one-on-one setting, I tend to get nervous in those situations. I think a lot of times I overthink things. I overthink about what the other person is thinking and all that kind of stuff. It just causes anxiety, right? And I'm not embarrassed to admit it because I realize that in order to overcome a problem, we must embrace the struggle. Holler if you hear me. Right? So I embrace my struggles. I realize that it's okay if some people look down on me. It's okay if some people think of me as being a little slow or dumb. It's okay because I realize now that other people's opinions of me do not have to become my reality. I realize now that my value as a human being always stays the same regardless of how other people treat me. To really make this point clear, let me share with you this illustration. How much is this worth? $1. What if I take this dollar bill and crumble it up and throw it on the floor and stomp on it? How much is it worth now? It's still worth $1. Regardless of how I just treated this dollar bill, its value stayed the same. I crumbled it up, threw it on the floor, stomped on it, put dirt on it, but yet its value stayed the same. And the same thing goes with you, me, and all of the human beings. Regardless of how other people treat us, regardless of what other people think about us or say about us or do to us, regardless of whatever happens to us in our lives, our value stays the same because our value is something that the world did not give to us, and so therefore it's something that the world cannot take away. It's amazing how just by changing our perspective, our whole life changes. Even a small shift in our perspective makes a huge change in our life. To really make this point clear, let's do this group activity. This will blow your mind. Everyone, please take your right index finger and point it straight up towards the ceiling. It has to be above your head, Now look up at the ceiling and imagine that on this ceiling there's a clock face. Now rotate your finger in a clockwise motion. Go clockwise motion. Now continue that same motion, but now bring your arm down, all the way down, so it's below your chin. So you're looking down at your finger. And realize now, you're no longer going clockwise. You're now going counterclockwise, aren't you? Isn't that cool? Let's try that again. Clockwise motion. And bring your arm all the way down. And realize now you're going counterclockwise. So somebody tell me, our finger did not change, and the motion of our finger did not change. What was the only thing that changed? Our perspective. And whenever we change our perspective, our whole life changes. So here's the message. Here's the lesson. Here's the point. Whenever you are feeling sad about anything, always ask yourself, what else can this mean? What else can this mean? What's another perspective in which I can view this situation? What's another way in which I can look at this circumstance? What else can this mean? I guarantee you, asking yourself that question is a very useful tool that can help us to rise above sadness. It's a very useful tool that can help us to manage our emotions. Whenever you are feeling sad about anything, always ask yourself, what else can this mean? Is this the end? Or is this the beginning? It's all a matter of perspective. Am I being punished? Or am I really being rewarded? It's all a matter of perspective. Is this a problem? Or is this a personal development exercise that is designed to prepare me to achieve my purpose and my destiny in life? It's all a matter of perspective. Holler if you hear me. Yes, problems are just personal development exercises that are designed to prepare us to achieve our purpose and our destiny in life. You know, as I think back over my childhood, I realize now that I'm grateful for my mental bullies, right? Mental bullies, right? The bullies that are inside of our head, right? The mental bullies, the inner critic, right? The anxiety, the stress that's inside of our head, the mental bullies. I'm grateful for my mental bullies because they strengthened me and prepared me to achieve my purpose and my destiny in life. They tore me down for a moment, but over time they built me up like gold, purified through fire. Holler if you hear me. To really make this point clear, let me share with you this story. The story about a water carrier who had two large pots. each hung on the ends of a pole which he carried across his neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, while the other pot was perfect. Each day at the end of the long walk from the water stream back to the house, the perfect pot always delivered a full portion of water. But the broken pot always delivered only half a pot of water, because the other half of its water would always leak out through the crack that was in its side, all the way back to the house. This continued on for years. And of course, the perfect pot felt proud of itself, felt like a high achiever, felt successful, had very high self-esteem. It felt good about itself. But the broken pot felt ashamed of itself. It felt miserable. And one day by the water stream, the broken pot spoke out to the water carrier and said, I'm ashamed of myself because this crack in my side, it causes water to leak out all the way back to your house. I'm no good. I'm inferior. I've been broken. I've been broken by some things that have happened to me in the past. You see, I've been through some bad experiences that have hurt me so much, and now I have all these insecurities, I have all of these issues that are holding me down and holding me back, and I'll never be able to succeed. I'm sick, and I'll never be made well, so you should just destroy me because my life has no meaning and no purpose. And then the water carrier responded to the broken pot. And the water carrier said, did you notice that there were flowers only along your side of the path and not along the other pot side? That is because I've always known about your flaw, and I planted flower seeds all along your side of the path. And each day as we walk back from the water stream, the water that leaks out through the crack in your side waters these flowers. And for years now, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to make the world a more beautiful place. Without you being just the way you are, there would not be this beauty to grace the world. I love that story because it's a reminder that even the cracks in our lives are there for a reason. Even the cracks in our life, even the flaws, the imperfections, the anxiety, the stress, the disappointments, even the cracks in our lives are there for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, although often we don't understand what that reason is as we're going through the process. But one day we will be able to look back and clearly understand that it was all part of a beautiful plan. One day we will be able to look back and see the bigger picture. And there's always a bigger picture. There's always a bigger picture. Everything that's going on in your life, it's all part of a bigger picture. But the reason why we get so stressed out and frustrated is because often we can't see the picture because we're standing in the frame. Often in life, we can't see the picture because we're standing in the frame. But one day, we will be able to look back and clearly see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is a beautiful picture. To really make this point clear, let me share with you another story. It's a story about a store owner who put a large sign on top of the front door of his store. And the sign read, "Puppies for sale." And almost immediately, a little boy comes into the store full of enthusiasm and asks, "How much are the puppies?" The store owner replied, "Anywhere between $30 to $50 per puppy." Little boy dug deep into his pocket and he pulls out $1.37. And he says, "All I have is $1.37, but can I see the puppies?" Store owner smiled and then whistled, and out from the kennel came a group of puppies running down the aisle of the store. But there was one puppy that was lagging behind all the others because it was limping. It was limping along. The little boy notices that puppy that was limping. The little boy asked the store owner, "What's wrong with that puppy?" The store owner explained how the veterinarian had examined that puppy and had noticed that puppy was missing a hip socket. So it would always be lame. It would always limp. The little boy got excited and said, "That's the puppy that I want to buy." Store owner said, "No, you don't want to buy that puppy. That puppy limps. That puppy has issues. In fact, I plan to just give away that puppy for free because that puppy does not have any value." The little boy got upset. And he said, "That puppy is as valuable as all the other puppies. I'll pay you full price for that puppy. I'll pay you $1.37 now, and I'll pay you 50 cents each week until that puppy is fully paid for." Store owner, again, expressed concern. He said, "Little boy, I really don't think you're going to enjoy that puppy because that puppy can't run, and it can't jump, and it can't play with you like the other puppies can." And at that moment, the little boy bent down and he picked up his left pant leg. His left leg was crippled. It was twisted. It was held together by a metal rod. And he says to the store owner, "I can't run well myself either. And that puppy needs someone who can understand." I love that story because it's a reminder that imperfect is perfect. Imperfect is perfect. Our imperfections make us humble. Our imperfections make us relatable. Our imperfections make us compassionate. Our imperfections can give us a unique ability to add a special value to the world. Imperfect is perfect. Our imperfection is our advantage to comfort and inspire others who are going through similar situations. Because you have more empathy, right? You have more empathy when you've gone through some type of issue. You have more empathy for others that are going through that same issue. Imperfect is perfect. This message, it really touches me because I realize that there's certain issues that tend to weigh me down. And I'm sure there's certain issues that tend to weigh you down as well. Because I know that we all have certain battles that are in our life. Some of us have more battles than others. Some of us have battles that are more intense than others, you know. And we have different types of battles, right? But all of us have certain battles that are in our life. And we have to realize that those imperfections are really our perfections. Imperfect is perfect. I have to remind myself that imperfect is perfect. I have to remind myself that it's okay that I stumble. It's okay that I struggle. I have to remind myself that I don't have to wait until certain things get resolved in order to feel happy. I have to remind myself that I can feel happy along the way. Even as I'm in the process of going through certain issues, I can feel happy along the way. I don't have to achieve in order to be happy. I can happily achieve. Because really, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. We can love the life we have as we build the life we want. We don't have to wait. We don't have to wait until we achieve the ideal circumstances in our life. We can actually love the life we have as we build the life we want. We can enjoy the journey. In other words, we can be content without being complacent. We can be content without being complacent. We can truly be happy and content about where we are in our lives right now. And at the same time, we can be fully motivated to improve where we are in our lives right now. We can be content without being complacent. We can love the life we have as we build the life we want. We have to keep in mind that life is not happening to us. Life is happening for us. And even though we don't understand why we're going through certain battles, we have to trust that one day we will be able to look back and the dots will connect. Things will be more clear later on. We just have to trust that there's a good reason why certain things are happening the way that they're happening. And we just have to continue to do the best we can with the resources we have and trust that there's a bigger picture. You know, there's a story about a true story. It's a true story about a lady who was running late for work one morning, all because of her daughter taking too long to get ready for school. And I can imagine she was feeling very angry and frustrated at her daughter for making her late for work. But when she arrived at work that morning, she realized that on this particular morning, it was a very good thing that she arrived late for work. Because this morning was Tuesday morning, September the 11th, 2001, and this lady worked in the World Trade Center. If it had not been for her daughter who made her late for work, she would have been in the building when the planes hit. It's amazing how our problems are really blessings in disguise. So let's not complain about anything, because really our problems can bless our lives in ways that we don't even understand. For example, when I was in high school, for a while, I felt very heartbroken and disappointed because there was this girl who I liked who did not like me back. And it really broke my heart because I felt as though she was my soulmate. Felt like we were made for each other. Like every time I'd see her in the hallways, I'd feel a little hypnotized. You know that feeling you get when you see someone that you have a crush on? It's like that high feeling, you know what I'm talking about? That high feeling? That's what I felt. I felt that high feeling. And that high feeling was so intense that I thought it was a sign. I thought it was a sign that this was true love. And so when she rejected me, I felt as though my heart split in half. I became very insecure. I started to feel very inadequate. I started to wonder, what's wrong with me? But an interesting thing happened. As time went by and as I grew older and more mature, I began to look back over that experience and I began to see something that I never saw previously. You see, it wasn't until later on in my life, as I was looking back over my teenage years, that I began to realize that when I was a teenager, I was very immature. And if I would have gotten into a relationship with that girl at that time, because of my immaturity, I would have ended up making some bad decisions. I would have ended up giving in to certain temptations. Because you see, this particular girl, she was involved with some very unhealthy things like drugs and alcohol. And I was aware of it, but I totally overlooked it because I was so very infatuated with her. I was so very physically attracted to her that I overlooked the fact that she had these negative habits in her life. I overlooked the fact that she would have had a very negative influence on my life. I overlooked all of that because I was so very physically attracted to her. It's amazing how physical attraction clouds judgment. Holler if you hear me. Right? Physical attraction clouds judgment. Things are not always what they seem to be. In fact, often in life, the things that look good to us are not good for us. Very often, even poison is wrapped in beautiful wrapping paper. So please always remember this. Do not follow your heart, lead your heart. Do not follow your heart, lead your heart. And what I mean by that is do not blindly follow your heart. Of course, you want to follow your dreams and your goals and your passion and your calling and your purpose in life, right? But do not blindly follow your heart. Because often your heart is deceiving. Do not follow your heart. Lead your heart. In other words, what I'm saying is this. Do not live your life based on your emotions. Live your life based on your principles. Wise principles. Because your emotions are not reliable. And have you noticed? a lot of people get themselves into a lot of trouble because they're following their emotions instead of following wise principles. Holler if you hear me. Right? A lot of people get themselves into a lot of trouble because they were following their emotions instead of following wise principles. You know, it all comes down to our perspective, being able to manage our perspective. I think about how often I would feel so very down, all because I was feeling impatient about certain things in my life. But now I realize, I can shift my perspective, and I can have this perspective of like, yo, as long as I do my best, then I've won. Regardless what's on the scoreboard, regardless of how other people are evaluating me, as long as I'm doing my best, then I'm winning. It's amazing how just by having a shift of your perspective, it changes your life. Also regarding regrets of the past even. You know, it's like I used to, beat myself up every time I fell. But now I realize that when I fall, I can just press the reset button and start over again. You know that in life there is a reset button. Now unfortunately, there is no redo button and there is no rewind button. But in life there is a reset button. And it's never too late to press the reset button and start completely over again. Now of course, we do have to face the consequences of our behavior. And our behavior always has consequences. But it's never too late to press the reset button and start over again. The winners are those that realize that the past does not equal the future. Our biography does not have to become our destiny. And so therefore, we do not have to live in the past. In fact, it's very unhealthy to live in the past. Because if you live in the past, you die in the present. Holler if you hear me. If you live in the past, you die in the present. We don't have to live in the past. We can let go of the baggage of the past, but always hold on to the lessons that we've learned from the past. And that's a very key point. Because good judgment comes from experience, and experience often comes from bad judgment. So as long as we always learn from our mistakes, then even our mistakes will become part of the process of our ultimate success. You know, Michael Jordan once said, I failed over and over and over again. And that is why I have succeeded. Failure is part of the process of our success. What we learn in our valleys can help us get to our mountaintops. Our adversity is our advantage. It's these mindset shifts, these perspective shifts that really changes our life. You know, I think about how in life all of us have to become one of three things. A potato, an egg, or a coffee bean. If you place a potato in the hot boiling water, what happens to it? The hot water changes the potato into becoming soft. If you place an egg in the hot boiling water, what happens to it? The hot water changes the inside of the egg into becoming hard. But if you place a coffee bean into hot boiling water, what happens? The hot water does not change the coffee bean, but rather the coffee bean changes the hot water. So likewise, as we go through hot water in our lives, meaning as we go through these problems and disappointments and struggles and anxiety and stress, as we go through hot water in our lives, we don't have to allow the hot water to change us into something hard and angry, nor soft and weak, but rather we can change the hot water. Because remember, our problems are just personal development exercises that are designed to prepare us to achieve our purpose and our destiny in life. We can view our adversity as our advantage to comfort and inspire others who are going through similar situations. We can change the hot water. We can use problems as builders for empathy and compassion for others who are going through similar situations. Now, I know these things are easier said than done. And that's why my next point is the most important point of all. Please always remember this. Always stay connected to the source of strength. Always stay connected to the source of strength. Always take time to do things that will strengthen your values and your faith and your beliefs. Because connected to the source of strength, you will have the power to drop the weasels and fly like an eagle. Holler if you hear me. Now, everyone, please take a look at your list of quotes. Please put a star next to one of them. Choose one of your favorite quotes and put a star next to it. Choose one of them. And when I say go, I would like for you to turn to some of the people around you and tell them your favorite quote and listen to their favorite quote. Ready? Go! Okay, time. Now, here's what I like to do. Now I like to go around the room and give each person an opportunity to share with the whole class one of their favorite quotes. Now, if someone says a quote that you were going to say, it's okay for you to repeat that same quote. It's okay to have duplicates, all right? And here's how we're going to clap for each person. We're going to do something called the Tony Robbins clap. Looks like this. Whoa, yes. Everybody try that. Whoa, yes. Awesome. Now, so all of you will go, and then we're going to hear from Ms. Gio what her favorite quote is, all right? So why don't we start right here. Now, in a loud voice, please tell us your name and one of your favorite quotes.
My name is Audrey, and my favorite quote is lead your heart instead of living it.
Say it again.
Lead your heart instead of living it.
Yes. Whoa, yes.
My name is Eric, and my favorite quote was, if you live in the past, you die in the present.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Wilmer, and my favorite quote was, you can't see the picture because you're standing in the frame.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Eli, and I said imperfect is perfect.
Whoa, yes.
I also said, my name's Ryan, and I also said, if you live in the past, you die in the present.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Faith, and I said that you know what I have as a good life.
Whoa, yes.
My name's Anaya, and I said my favorite quote was imperfect is perfect.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Caroline, and my favorite is our value isn't something the world gives to us, therefore it's something that the world can't take away.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Josh, and my favorite was the past doesn't equal the future.
Whoa, yes.
I said no matter the treatment, value stays the same.
Whoa, yes.
My name
Wait. Say your name.
My name is Dylan.
Dylan, okay.
My name's Emma, and my favorite quote was can't see the picture because we're standing in the frame.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Amanda, and I said don't follow your heart.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Lilia, and I said your heart is the student.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Anna, and my favorite quote is everything happens for me.
Whoa, yes.
Oh, my name's Sav, and our problems are blessings in disguise.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Griffin, and mine is be the call for being here.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Jason, and I said, no matter how poorly you get treated, your value stays the same like a dollar.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Cole, and I said you need a different perspective.
Whoa, yes.
My name is Alex, and I did don't follow your heart, lead it.
Whoa, yes.
I'm Cooper, and I said drop the weasel.
Whoa, yes.
I'm Jen, I said like a
Whoa, yes.
I'm David, I said, you gotta jump the weasel and fly like eagle.
Whoa, yes. You know one?
My name's Cottrell, and I said your value doesn't change.
Whoa, yes.
Oh.
Gio.
Sorry.
Jordan.
Our value is something that the world did not give to us, therefore it is something the world cannot take away from us.
Whoa, yes. One big whoa, yes, little class. Whoa, yes. Excellent. So now, hold on to your notes piece of paper. Now everyone, please take out your feedback piece of paper. Feedback. Now on your feedback piece of paper, you can remain anonymous. You don't have to put your name on it, but please put your age and your gender identity and the period, right? What period is this? 7. Okay, period 7. All right, so your age, gender identity, and period 7. And I'd like for you to respond to this. I'd like for you to like, I'll give you like, a few minutes to write like a mini essay, right? Because I want you to really explain your answer in detail. And here's the question. Was this presentation useful to you? Please explain in detail. Like, did it impact you in any way? Did certain quotes stand out to you? How did those quotes stand out to you? Did certain stories or illustrations stand out to you? Why did those particular stories and illustrations stand out to you? Was this presentation useful to you? Please explain your answer. Let's just take like 3 or 4 minutes to respond to that.